hustle culture.
Yes.
I don't know what it is. I don't know where it came about. It has a stigma. I'm curious what you think it means. I'm curious what you think people get wrong about it, what they should get right about it.
Well, look, I think, the term started to bubble up in the last half decade, 7 years. And, I think for me, it's unfortunate because I love that word so much and used it my whole life. I was such a big baseball fan in the 80s, like Charlie Hustle with Pete Rose. And I love it. I love work ethic and effort. I think it's a massive variable. So what do I think? I think the pendulum swings on topics. People ask me about this a lot. I'm not overtly caught up in semantics. So for example, I tend to use the word way less because I know it triggers people and they think it means burnout, which is never a good idea. So I just use the word work ethic. I don't get caught up in words. If anybody on earth believes that work ethic is not one of the ingredients to achieve something, whether that's being a great parent, whether that's building a huge business, whether that's putting food on your table, well, they're delusional. And so what do I think? I think it's great that there's conversation, but I think things, unfortunately, in today's society go far to the left and far to the right. Everything's so extreme. So I'm glad that, hustle porn and all that stuff came up because it maybe helped some people who were delusional and thought just working 24 hours a day was gonna make them successful, and that's good for them. On the flip side, I will never, to the day I die, believe that work ethic isn't part of the equation. As a matter of fact, one of the topic of conversations recently is oh shit, do we think there's momentum for a 4-day work week? Right? There's some of that starting to bubble up, right? And again, all my friends and family are like, what do you think? 4-day work week? Because they know I'm so passionate about what I do and all that. I'm like, I think it's great. I'm like, if everybody else doesn't work another day during the week, that means I'm gonna dominate even more. So let's go to 1-day work week. I'll work the other 7, you can vacation for the other 6, because merit is always gonna play out.
100%.
So what do I think? I think everyone has a different answer to balance. There are people here that are in the time of where they are in their life, where working 9 to 9 feels super fun for them and that's what they want to do, and I think that's great. Some other people might have just gotten into a marriage or a first child and want to commit a different level of thing, and I think that's all great. I don't think anything has to be, but I don't understand why someone would demonize someone who's interested in putting in some extra effort to advance their life when that has been the proven way of humanity for the last fucking 10,000 years.
I totally agree. Not only is this the hardest group of hustlers I've ever met, and you're a 6-day-a-week culture, you're not 4-day-a-week, and sometimes 7.
And by the way, I grew up in retail. It was 6 was bare minimum. Saturday was the busiest day. And to your point, I worked most Sundays too, because when you want to achieve something, it's the biggest thing you can control. There's so many things we can't control in here. The luck of the draw of health is really fucking non-controllable. The government's gonna do a bunch of shit that we can't control. The one thing you can control is what you decide your output is. You control that shit. Do people get down to the nose? Because no's excite the shit out of me. Ding dong, no, I get pumped. I like no more than, my friends, the Jets and the Knicks are my favorite teams. I was a Yankees and Rangers fan as a kid, equal to those teams, but those teams won championships, and as soon as the Rangers won the Cup in '94 and the Yankees in '96, I stopped cheering for them. I really mean this when I say this. Thinking about people get good enough to get to this room in your company, are people really down by the nose? Because I would argue probably a high percentage of the people here are really kind of weirdly, I love the no. I secretly love losing. I love a micro loss. The reason I'm a macro winner is because I'm addicted to micro losing. We created 8th place trophies. That fucked everything up. All those parents that thought they were doing good came from a good place. I don't think anyone here is confused. They weren't coming from a bad place. They didn't want their kid to cry. They didn't want their kid to hurt. That's coming from a very nice place. It just did a major thing wrong, which is merit matters. The truth matters. And if you suck shit at soccer and your team lost every game 7-0, at the end of the season, you should not get a fucking trophy. Parents, coaches, leaders should just tell that kid, you might be good at basketball. Like, just because you suck at soccer doesn't mean you suck at life. Just because you suck at school doesn't mean you suck at life. Just because you suck at, like, this concept that you have to be all good at everything or it's all bad is so fucked. Right? It's the same thing that's pissing me off on this generational warfare. Like everybody making fun of boomers or Gen Z. Like this whole stream of energy, all that's happening is people just keep going into these micro tribes to fight each other. Like, as if I don't know unlimited Gen Z kids, there's tons of them here that work their fucking faces off. Right?
Yep.
As if like 60-year-olds aren't cool, that's ridiculous. Like, I'm 47, this is the coolest I've ever been in my fucking life. This battle that we're doing with all this shit really pisses me off. And like, the 8th place trophies created entitlement. We've gone through 30 years of creating zoo animals. We protected the fuck out of these kids, so then they go into the real world, and the real world's the fucking jungle. And the zebra goes out there thinking they're gonna get fed because that's how it's been going down in the zoo for the last 30 years, and the fucking lion rips their fucking head off.
Yeah.
Motherfucker. Because the second you get caught living in an ivory tower and you get too bougie, is the second someone's gonna get you. I love the player coach analogy. You know, I think it's important to stay in the dirt. Like, I just don't know what else to say. If you don't stay in the dirt, you don't know what's actually happening. I don't really understand. By the way, I do understand. There's just a lot of people that are content with capping out. And I think that's, again, this goes back to my work-life balance thing. Like, a lot of people really like to make $200,000 a year and being an executive and just going to meetings that mean fucking nothing. 5 days a week and like living that life. And I genuinely mean this when I say this. I think that's remarkable. I think everyone should do whatever they want. You want to move to Norway and work 30 hours a week and climb mountains, knock yourself out. That's not for me. And I think same with this one. For me, the thought that I wouldn't know what's actually happening in the trenches, the single reason Garyvee, the character, exists is because I'm in the business of marketing, and if I don't do it myself, I won't know what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Do you know how fun it is for me to be in business meetings where I fully know everything about what we do? You're never scared. You prep for nothing. My team's always like, you don't prep. I'm like, I live this shit. I'm like, you prep because you don't.